Yes, and en route we'd usually stop somewhere to have a bit of culture on the way. Have a look at Bala Lake, Jim. Or go and see Gillet's grave. Lloyd George's grave. And that made it alright, because certain older people used to go and have a few and get back on the bus quietly. And we'd go down to Cook Call and spend all the money there. And all was well with the world, really. Now the vicar's wife, Mrs. Davis, very straight-laced lady. One of them, my sisters were in. Her hair was always in a bun, always very immaculate. And she used to come to our house and spend many hours there regularly. Unfortunately, things changed. She fell into bad company, unfortunately. And the bad company was sending 2 sea captains who were home on leave. One living down the road, actually, from us, and my father. Now, they were there having a drop of rum, you know, to keep the scurvy off. And I don't know, she must have fancied a bit of rum instead of the sherry. All we could say really is that the road back up to the vicarage wasn't quite wide enough for her at times. And she didn't come to our house for a long time. We were out of favour. Second vicar, Matthew Griffiths. Now, he was a great country vicar, I thought, who liked his fishing and his shooting and was known to have the odd pint of beer. And perhaps this was the start of the new era for the clergy. And the last vicar I remember was the Reverend Jenkins, who was a very nice, kindly man, but by this time I'd more or less left the village, so I didn't know much about it. Now, in this era, before mains electricity, pre-1953, I suppose, when we had a wireless. By the way, our house up here in Llanrhystud used to be the last one in Man Webb's network of lines. Bottom end here was South Wales Electricity Board. And cooking a turkey on Christmas Day was hopeless. It would take hours and hours and hours because all the juice had run out before it got to us. And the television, which was a pie top 21-inch Continental, had a picture about that big, lack of power. And indeed, the batteries that we had to have was one solid one and one wet one. And thanks to April's father in the garage, he used to have banks of these things, didn't he? All charging up for us lot to listen to the wireless. And it was a big help. But really, for us kids, we tended to be on the bridge in Llanrhystud. This is the focal point for all sorts of things going on. Games came in their season, of course, in those days, and we collect conkers from the vicarage or Aberystwyth, now known as the Class Gwyn. And that phase would last for a few weeks. We didn't have to wear protective goggles or gloves or anything like that, and the odd throbbing finger didn't matter. We'd also have a game of marbles going later on in the year. I've got to go into my recycling box for you. There they are. Still here after all those years. Some of them were worse than others. John Hughes, I'm all that Aberystwyth from all that time. And we'd also move on then to other interesting little things in the way of our games. Now then, do you ever see one of those eaters? Remember these? A tractor. Right? Now then, very marvellous thing. A pin, matchstick, plastic band, and piece of stick, and a candle to reduce friction. And if you were well connected, you'd have the big reels. Now, I was in Malvern yesterday, in the big flea market. And that, believe it or not, is cheaper to buy a Japanese toy than a cotton reel. They wanted £3 each for a cotton reel. Bigger ones than that. Now, we'd modify these, put nicks in them to give them grips, old inner wheel, cycle tyres, tubes. Put them round the outside, so you have rubber tyres, get it to climb up hooks and all sorts of things. Let's see what else we got. Oh yes, it's fine. Oops, yes. Oh, we've got a problem. Here we go. Remember the guns? Plastic band, wooden peg, I haven't got a wooden peg. Matchstick. Pull it back, trap it in there, and then to fire it. There we are. You'd have somebody's eye out for that. Right. The simple pleasures of the countryside. Where are we? Ah, yes. The winter brought the sound of playing havoc with a video. Remember it? Yeah. Right. Right, you have a demo on this, so there we are, Kilkenny. You've all had a Kilkenny at some time or other. And of course they were the main means of transport for small boys. Because if you went anywhere, you had to have the Kilkenny. And these were made by George up in the blacksmith shop, George and Wool. And the only tools were the hammer, the anvil, and a good eye. Now, this one was made for me over 50 years ago. I haven't used it for 40. But it's still there, and still marvellous. Now, the softies of South Wales used to cheat, because they had a ring, not a hook. So it was permanently on there, so it couldn't fall off. We were more sophisticated here. The sound of these and hobnail boots. Right, you buy the boots in town, not with nails in. Then we used to bring, well, Mother used to bring mine down to Germanmant, is it? That's where the cobbler's shop was. And he used to put the hobnails in underneath. And he used to slide and you get sparks. Yeah, brilliant. And bikes in those days. They were hand-downs of very dubious origin, and they would usually sit up and beg, you know, 28 or even 30-inch tyres. They were massive things. And they had rod brakes, if they had any at all. And of course, the best bike here was a folding bike. Now then, Brian Evans had it, Titch. And this was a brilliant thing because it bent. It was used for parachuters, shootists even. And a wingnut on the top, on the crossbar. And what he used to do, because he was as mad as a hatter with bikes, he'd undo the wingnut and offset it. So that the front wheel was here and the back wheel was there. And then he'd ride it slightly sideways. And people going past in cars just couldn't believe what was going on because you were going like that. I don't know what happened to the bike, but it was a brilliant bike. Envy, you know. And he wouldn't say where it came from. And of course, in those days, tyres were really compulsory, rims would do. And do you know that a bike was worth a fortune up here. You looked after it, you kept it going as best you can. And I always remember back in the early 50s going to the Rhondda Valley, you remember how hard up they were, the poor miners. And they used to go up the tip to catch rats with the dogs. And I couldn't believe it. They were actually throwing away bikes. Now they were supposed to be hard done by down there. Gee, they should come to Llanrhystud. We'd have killed for those flames. You know, we just looked after them and kept them going until they were beyond total repair, I suppose.